This is chapters 6 through 10 of Lock the Doors. 6. Amy lived here before us. That's why I recognized her mother, because she showed us around. She hit it off with Mom right away, telling her what a wonderful house it was. There was a man too, but he didn't say much. He hung back while she did the talking. Amy wasn't there. I wish I'd paid more attention, but we looked at so many houses. I thought this was just another one Mom would say no to, because there was already something wrong. It's perfect, she told Jay afterward, and 6 months later it was ours. I touched my door and wonder, why didn't I see the holes that day? Why didn't I look closer? I could have asked about them, but would Amy's mom have told the truth? I knock on Nia's door, then again, and when she finally answers, she stares at me until I say, "Can you remember whose room this was?" "What? When we first saw the house, was this a girl's room?" Billie Eilish is singing about belly aches, and my stepsister reluctantly turns the music down and says, "What are you talking about?" I point at the holes. "This isn't normal." "You're not normal," she replies. She doesn't smile because it's not a joke. I look past her, at the walls already covered in posters and photos and her guitars resting in the corners. There's no telling which of us got Amy's room. They were both identical when we moved in. Mom says Nia really likes me, really, but I don't think so. She's a year older than me, and she's never even pretended to be nice. She comes with Jay, just like I come with Mom. 2 people who chose to be together, and 2 who didn't. "Is that it?" Nia asks, and when I don't answer, she closes the door. Luckily for her, she can open it whenever she wants. But if I'm right, and there did used to be locks on the outside of Nia's door, and mine, it wasn't that easy for Amy Pierce. 7. Miss Kiko asks me to stay behind after registration, then hands me a piece of paper and says, "You have a buddy request." "Pardon?" "You have a new starter, and we have a new starter, and you've been chosen. Our school has a buddy system, but I can't remember the last time they used it. We don't get many new kids here, and my tutor must see my concern." She tilts her head and says, "Are you okay, Tom?" I glance at the paper, and there it is, Amy Pierce's name and the time we should meet. So she picked our school after all, but why has she picked me? Or is this Mr. Tradford's idea? "I'd better go," I say. "Thank you." Miss Kiko could have given this to me in front of everyone, but she knows I don't like attention. If she was picking the buddy, she would have paired Amy with someone else, but I'm not that lucky. I feel a tap on my shoulder, and when I turn, Amy smiles and says, "Remember me?" "Yes, except the girl I remember was a lot sadder, and now—" "I need another tour," Amy says. "I wasn't paying much attention last time." "I noticed," I say, and she smiles, a massive grin that reaches her eyes. Her clothes are really smart, but business dress means something different at St. Gregory's Academy for Girls. That's where Nia goes, and she isn't allowed into classes unless she's interview ready. I stare at Amy in my confusion, pushing out my unease. I want to know if she'd ask to be paired with me, but I'm scared of the answer. When you're a kid, they tell you not to talk to strangers. We're used to keeping others out, and that doesn't change in high school. The doors to most friendship groups closed years ago. She tilts her head and says, "I know what you're thinking." "You do?" "Yep, you think I'm weird because last time I was moody, and this time I'm hyper." Amy laughs. "I was having a bad day, but I'm better now." I step back and say, "I've got to go. You should probably ask for another partner." "Meet me at break." "Why? Why not?" I can feel my panic bubbling like a kettle starting to heat up. I could risk it coming to boil, but it's easier to switch it off. "I can't," I say, mostly because I don't usually spend time with girls, and partly because this one used to live in my house. She shrugs and says, "No worries." I walk away thinking of the day I met her when she left and didn't look back. This time I can feel her watching. I turn and see her sitting on the top step with a book in her lap looking at me, then the book, then back to me, scribbling like it's the last 5 minutes of an exam. Then I think of the holes in my door, the echoes of a story Amy may be too afraid to tell. I could ignore her until she gives up and bothers someone else, or I could talk to her and find out if I'm right. 8. You know those songs you hear in the morning and can't get out of your head all day? It turns out some girls are like that. In class, Amy gate crashes my thoughts. I keep having flashbacks to her on the steps and that big smile. Most girls look at me by accident, but she did it on purpose. I should be thinking about her because of the doors. I should see her as a mystery to solve, but I think it might be more than that. She shakes at my thoughts like the insides of a snow globe, and I need to focus. At break, I go back to reception, and she looks relieved and says, I'm here for the tour. This isn't me. I'm here for the tour. This isn't me. I usually avoid being sociable, but if I want to find out the truth about the holes, I need Amy to trust me. That's why I show her the school again, except this time I'm honest. The left types are ancient, and they take the common room away whenever there are exams. I say, if you have a class in the trailers, don't take your coat off unless it's boiling outside, and don't turn left after you leave school. They mug kids in that alley. Even the teachers turn right. Amy nods and says, it's still better than my last school. I think of St. Gregory's Academy, the red brick girls' and boys' schools, standing side by side, and wonder if she's joking. From what Nia says, it sounds like a different world, a lot better than this one. At the running track, I point at the extra white line painted on the grass and say, that's Simon Marlowe's Head Start line. Amy tilts her head and I sneak a glance. Some thoughts shout and others whisper. The shout says, this girl is amazing, and the whisper says, you've only known her a morning. The shout says, who cares? Look at her. And the whisper says, remember what happened to your mum. Shouts drown out whispers. The longer I spend with her, the sillier I feel about the holes. I made up a story and cast her in it before I even knew her. She doesn't look trapped. She looks calm. Whatever issues she has with her mom and whatever happened at her old school, here, now, she seems happy. We were in 8th grade, I say, looking at the Head Start line. It was sports day, but Simon was lightning quick. He was always going to win. And then he fell, only now, I say, crumpled. And the crowd all around him, the one supposed to be cheering, was staring and crying and freaking out. Miss Suman was pushing on his chest. Thinking about it now, it was like she was trying to pump a slashed football. The next day in assembly, the principal said that there's no age restriction on tragedy. Kids don't have heart attacks, I tell Amy. She pens down and touches the line. I'm sorry, she whispers. When they painted it, they said Simon had a head start in heaven. That's what the line means. Amy doesn't look up for a long time. When she does, I must be staring because she says, what's wrong? I don't normally do this. Do what? Talk to girls. She laughs. Do you have any more stories like that? Sad ones. They don't have to be. I think of all the things Mom and I have been through, but say, not really. Amy stands and hugs me, and I wonder what that means. The blush spreads quickly from my cheeks to my ears and everywhere else. She notices because it's impossible not to. During class presentations, my face could warm the coldest room, but today it could heat a whole house. The tiniest smile dances across Amy's eyes, and my face turns a shade darker. Do I scare you? She asks, and I lie. No. She sighs, looks one last time at the Head Start line, and says, I will. 9. I thought I was being stupid. I thought that for once there was no terrible truth, just a harmless coincidence. And then Amy said she would scare me, and I doubted my doubts. I should have more faith in my paranoia. I've been practicing for years. Does she know what I know? Is she waiting for me to find the holes in her door and ask what they mean? This house doesn't feel safe, and that's nothing new. I'm used to feeling like this because too many times Mom mistook prisons for sanctuaries. Every time she thought we were escaping, and every time it was worse. But this feels different. I'm not scared of Jay, not anymore. I'm scared of the doors. I'm afraid of what they're trying to tell me. Every house has a history, and this one doesn't seem good. I get out of bed and touch the holes in my door, then go online and order what I need to be sure. If I ask Mom to do it, she'll tell me I'm being paranoid. That's her way of saying things are different now. But I'm not only paranoid because of before. I'm only thinking the worst because I've seen it happen. I imagine Amy lying in the bed that was there before mine. What did she think? I could ask her, but how do you bring up something like that? How do you say, I was in bed thinking of you last night, and I wondered if we shared the same ceiling. I can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something. She was happy today, but when I told her about Simon Marlowe and the Head Start line, about the grief we felt that day, her face slipped, and something dark crept out. For a split second, she forgot to hide. For the tiniest moment, she looked like Mom used to, before she banished her final monster. 10. There are loads of reasons for never having a girlfriend. There's shyness, or bad luck, or maybe you have better things to do. And sometimes it's because your mom had too many goes at a happy ending before she got the hang of it. That's my reason. My parents got divorced after 6 years together, just like that. One day they changed their minds, which confused me at the time because you change your mind about what you're having for dinner or what to spend your birthday money on. Some decisions, the biggest ones, take the kind of planning I never saw. Not because it didn't happen, but because my parents did it in secret. They hid their problems behind smiles I was too young to see through. And when even the fake smile stopped, it was too late. A few years after that, Mom's latest bad boyfriend full stopped their relationship with a garbage can lid, and I learned that whether love ended fast or slow, calmly or violently, on screen or off, it always ended. When that happens, when most of your mom memories involve her crying, you lose faith in the soppy stuff. Love and all its alter egos work for a while, but never forever. People who don't believe that, they haven't fallen asleep while their mom sobs through the wall every night. I know I'm a little bit broken, and that's okay. I know what happened when I was a kid has left stains on my new life and the people I randomly meet. But Amy wasn't random. She used to live here in a house I don't quite trust. And now she goes to my school and seems to have chosen me as her friend. Maybe it was just because Mr. Trodford picked me for the tour. But she wasn't pleased to see me then, so why did she ask for a second go? Why were her smiles a bit too wide and her words slightly too rehearsed? She's covering something up, and I can't shake the feeling that it's my job to figure out what.